This is a video about making short URLs that have multiple options of links to different services for one album or song title. Type album.link in the top of your browser, and you'll see that it redirects to this odesli.co. So from here, what you would first need to do is make a login. And also notice that down here, there's a little link that says email us in case you need help from them. But the way that this site functions, it actually is kind of simple, but it doesn't seem that way when you first look at it. So for example, if I click this, you wouldn't have known that this would pop out unless you click it. So first thing to do again is to click these three lines at the top so that you get the option to log in or make an account. Now, if you click a login, you'll have an option down here to sign up, which would be your first step. But in my case, I'm ready to log in. And here are other short links that I've made recently that display to me. Now, to get back to that view that we started at with the three lines up here and some other fields, you have to, this is also not intuitive, but you have to go back to here and click dashboard or this icon. And that brings it back to this view. So it's almost like you're switching pages from this page to this page, or this arrow back to, let's look at dashboard for a moment. So it still recognizes me as logged in, even though when I go back to this, it looks like it's prompting me to log in. I'm actually still logged in as long as on this under dashboard that I still see links that I've created before. So getting back to this page, to create album links, I recommend setting up your browser into two separate browser windows, which you can do by minimizing your browser width like this. And then on the right, on Chrome browser at least, you can peel off a tab to the right this way. So now you have two Chrome browsers, but they're side by side, which I think will make things easier. The next thing I'm going to do is demonstrate making the short link and customizing the name of the URL. So what I'm going to do is go to the artist. In this case, I'm going to choose John Barnard on iTunes. So I'm typing into Google basically John Barnard iTunes. So in this case, I would like to go to the artist John Barnard on Apple Music, and I've searched to get to his artist link, which has like all the albums listed. And you'll notice most artists have like some full albums and some singles as well. And I notice Apple, by the way, calls it compilations. In some cases, if you've used like one of the tracks from one of your albums or your singles on another album, they call it compilations, even if it's all yourself as the artist name. So what I'm going to do first is demonstrate one of the albums. So what I do is I start from the artist page, and then I'm going to go to this one, and from the top of the browser, I'm going to copy this main album link. And over here, I'm going to switch this to albums. May or may not be necessary, but I think it might influence how the link comes up being either album.link or song.link. So I'm going to keep it on albums, and I'm going to paste in that link to Apple Music. And kind of miraculously, because it didn't used to be this easy on other short URL sites, this one just kind of figures out all the different places like Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, YouTube Music, Pandora, Deezer, Amazon Tidal, Napster, Yandex, Boomplay, Angami, just a lot of choices that it finds, and that's all streaming right there. Then it gives a section called Buy, so that would be iTunes and Amazon. And then it gives a YouTube, an actual embedded YouTube that can be played on the same page. And well, I know that some artists have edited this to move the YouTube player to the top. I actually highly recommend that you keep it near the bottom. And the reason is that more people are likely, if it's at the top, people are likely to just play it right there and that's it. And they may not ever visit the other link that they have a account on. But if you have it down at the bottom, it's kind of like they would have to get through all of those to see this first. And they might by then have made the choice to visit one of these links. And you want your fans and new listeners to click the one of their choice on these, even if it's YouTube. It's just better. They might be in the United States, so they can access Pandora. They might be anywhere in the world and can access Spotify, and I think Amazon Music streaming now is very around the world now as well, as are some of these others. But the really strong ones are Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, Apple Music in terms of making money. And good ones are YouTube, because almost everybody has YouTube. YouTube Music is something that people have to subscribe to, and it just looks a little different than YouTube does. It looks more like a music player with a dark background, I think. um, and these are significant because when someone buys an album, then uh, I don't know the cost of this album from this display right here, but I think the albums are around $9.99, so your distributor would pay you at least like $7 approximately, $7 or $8. I think $7 approximately. So anyway, so it made this automatically. However, you'll notice up here that the link just is not an easy thing to remember. Nobody would really remember this actually. So all you do is you scroll down and you choose customize this page. So when I customize it, I can enter in the link ending that I want it to be right here, where you see this album.link and a down arrow. So what I do, and I don't recommend even clicking that down arrow, I would keep it right where it is if it gets album.link. If you wanted it to change to like song.link, you could do that. And if you notice, they have things like playlist.link, which is interesting. I haven't tried that yet, so I don't even know if that's available here, but that's pretty cool. Okay, so for album.link, I now am going to type what I want it to be. And I would like it to be JB, for the initials of this artist, is just how I'm choosing to make it. INN. And I'm just going to see, has that been taken yet? No, it hasn't, because I got a check mark here. If what you typed had been taken by someone else already, then you cannot use it, and you would see a thing that says something like this URL is not available, and you would just have to type something else instead. I don't recommend doing things like JB underscore something else. It just doesn't, it's not convenient for when you start sharing your short URL. Okay, so now after you type that, the most important next step is to click set URL. And now basically that is set up here. So if I was to either click this or just even type it out on a new browser tab, album.link slash, and let's see if I can even change the case of it whenever I share it. Say I wanted it to be like that. And also, by the way, when you share it somewhere like Twitter, I recommend putting an extra slash when you share it, but that slash is not part of the URL that you set. And so when I test this and hit enter, it works. And it even accepts, whether I do lowercase or uppercase. So there is one. And another step you might want to take is to make a list of the ones that you're creating of your own, just so that you don't always have to log into odesly.co to see what your URLs are. So I would recommend keeping a document of it. And here, I will simply type in, I'll simply paste that in. Whoops, that's not the one I wanted. Okay, so now I've kept track of that link. So that would be how you would go about making short links to an album. And then, as you can imagine, the next thing would be or another example I could give would be to a single. Okay, so I'm going to use this one as an example. So this, it says, is called Edge of the Day. It's a single. Let's go look at the page. And so up at the top, here's the URL, and I right click and copy that. And here I need to basically get back to, my dashboard that starts like a new blank thing. So let me see if I can find that. It looks like I'm there as long as I just press that little upper left corner thing. So once again, I would do paste the URL, but this time I'm going to keep this on songs, let it find its links. So it finds several, not as many, but that's okay. Sometimes it just doesn't find as many. And then from here, I would customize it down here by clicking Customize. And then here, notice it defaulted to song.link, probably since that's where I started. But if this said album.link, I might want to change it to song. Might want to use this and change it to song.link if that had been the default. So here I'm going to type JBEOD for Edge of Day. I'm just trying to keep, in this example, some 3-letter endings. So I'm going to choose set URL, and there that is. I'll copy that, and I'll put it here, and I'm just going to change it to EOD capital with a slash. And by the way, the reason I like to add this slash is especially because of certain social media. When you paste these links on them, sometimes the album cover does not display, but when you put the /, usually the album cover will display. Okay, so that's another one. Actually, I should put to the right of it what it was for. So that would pretty much be it, how you would use this. Now, notice that once these links are already existing, you can actually go into editing the page. And let me just expand this so that you can see this a little better. When I am on not this page, but this dashboard page, and then on the song itself, or if you see like a link of your songs, I could go to edit page, for example, and I can see to the right, it shows me which of these links are there. And you'll notice that a hand icon can appear when I hover over it. That means that I could switch around the order of things. So if I wanted Spotify to be first here, I would grab it with when I see the hand appear, not like that, but not arrow, but hand. Click and drag it up above it, and then you'll see this refresh, and now Spotify is the first one there. While I'm there, I'm going to bring Pandora up, because Pandora, I think, is a better paying company. It tends to grow your songs through lots of listeners quite well. And I would say these three, Spotify, Pandora, and Apple Music, should be at the top. Maybe Amazon Music should be like next. or after Apple Music. Okay. So these are 4 streaming services. Another thing you could do is you could turn this off and make one of them hidden. Um, and that would be like if I don't want someone to see YouTube Music as an option. Maybe I think, oh, too many times people click off to that and then it tells you like you have to have a subscription so they can't use it anyway. So I might want to isolate things to be just YouTube option by just simply turning this button off. There is another thing that happens, which is that when you want to add something new that is not there, in some cases, you would have to do this thing here where you turn it off, or actually, if it's not even there, you would have to do something where you add a link here, and then paste in the link that you find from the other service that you think is missing. So I can just check this for a second. I'm just going to see if Edge of the Day is, for example, on iHeartRadio. It might not be. And in this case, in Google, I'm just typing out as much identifying info as I can to see if a link appears. And I noticed that I do get one of his album links at iHeart. And if I was to click on the artist name here, I might get back to more of a view of other ones available. But oh, there it is. So look, I'll hit Edge of Day, and then from iHeart, I think the better way to get a link is to share the song. This is going to work a little bit better, I think, than this link up here. And I would click Share Song, and then I would just I like to pick Twitter because even if I'm not ready to put it on Twitter or don't want to at all, I just go to this link right here. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to like copy this whole thing because I kind of like that it has some other extra feature that says question mark CMP equals blah blah blah, share and embed equals true. I just have a feeling that that's going to work a little better than when I just grab this top of iHeart link. I might be wrong, so I might have to come back to this, but I'll go back to here and back to actually the one that's for this one, the Edge of Day, this one that I'm editing. And I'm going to use add, I didn't see it in here, iHeart. So I'm going to try to add iHeart. Let's see what happens if it allows it or not. Oh, I just started typing iHeart in this left part and it gave me this option. And then maybe I need to put the URL here, and this one I have to call it iHeart. I think that's what it wants. So there it is. So the top field would be the name of the service. I recommend using a combination of all of lowercase and capital letters, or just all lowercase. I don't think it's usually good to make them all caps like this title is. I could even edit that if I wanted to. But anyway, so all I did was type it in there, and then on the bottom link is where I put that link, and then I click save, or I should click save really. So now we've added another service in there, so that's how you do that. Um, and then if you were to go on this section and look lower, you can see the way they've done the links to iTunes and Amazon. If I wanted to change something about that iTunes link, I could try, I would literally turn it off first. Let's see. I don't want to ruin it, but let's see if I turn it off. Well, in this particular case, it doesn't really let me like trash that link or change it. I could add another one and then see if this one lets me trash or edit it. Okay, this is how you do. You would say hide and add new. But I would only do that if like the link wasn't working. In this case, I think it's working, so I'm going to just keep it like that. We'll make sure to put the green back on so that you see it is part of the way it displays. I think that's pretty much it. The main thing is that be very careful. One thing I would add is be very careful when you create your last letters combination. Try to always do something that's very consistent. Try to do it as short and simple as you can, and something that's memorable for you so that you're always easily able to share them. And just in case you weren't able to remember them, make sure to keep like a document that you put all what the links are that you've created for each thing. So that's it.